Hi friends, it's Alex. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about minimalism and money and tips to spend a little bit more intentionally and also save more. My definition of minimalism is reducing clutter to focus on things that you value. And a minimalist approach to money doesn't always mean spending less. It's not about restriction and not allowing yourself to spend money, but instead aligning your spending with what you value. So therefore, my definition of financial minimalism would be to reduce financial clutter to focus my money towards what I value. And I do this by reducing impulse spending and overconsumption. In a world that is constantly telling us that joy and contentment is found in what we own and that we constantly need to be having the newest, the best, and the trendiest item, a minimalist approach to finance helps combat this consumerist mindset and cultivate more contentment with what we have where we are. In this video, I'm going to be sharing my approach to money, which obviously isn't the only way to do things, and also sharing some tips to help you spend more intentionally and save more money. So keep watching for some tips on how to minimize or simplify your approach to finance. The first step would be to have a system to track your income and expenses. Knowing how much you're making and where it's going is super important. It gives you a lot of clarity and it also might surprise you as well. The first step to spending more intentionally is to know where your money is already going, and this is going to help you as well inform changes or habits that you might want to implement into your life. So you could do this by creating a budget spreadsheet and sticking to that, or just simply tracking your income and expenses. Find a method or a way that works for you. I started tracking and categorizing my expenses so I could know exactly how much money I was spending and where it was all going. I set this up in Notion where I was able to make a database and input all my expenses and categorize them, and I can then sort the database to see exactly how much I'm spending in every different category of my life, such as eating out, clothing, entertainment, groceries, all of those things. The second step would be to define your why. Why do you want to spend more intentionally, and what are your values? Now that you know exactly where your money is going, you can compare it to your values and see if they align. You could be saving for a specific goal or purpose, or simply have a desire to spend your money more intentionally. Maybe you really value generosity and you want to be really generous in giving with your money, or maybe you value contentment with what you have. Maybe you value hobbies that you really want to invest in, or investing into your relationships and your friendships. Having a minimalist approach to money doesn't mean that you always try and spend the least amount of money possible and just eat bread and boiled potatoes for every meal. One of your values might be investing into your friendships or relationships, and you might really enjoy catching up with your friends for a coffee or a meal. So in that case, it wouldn't be an expense that you necessarily need to try and cut out. So define what your values are, and now that you know exactly what you're spending and where it's all going, you can decide whether that aligns with your values or not. And if not, it's time to make some changes. So step number 3 is to audit your expenses. So identify any areas you might want to spend less money in, see if your expenses are aligning with your values. So you could create a limit or a budget for a certain area of your life that you want to spend less in, but the key is to create a system that's going to actually help you achieve it. And side note, obviously there are essential purchases that might not necessarily align with your values that you're not able to cut out, such as rent and groceries and your water and electricity bill. I'm talking more about your disposable income, of course. So don't be out here trying to not pay your rent because it doesn't align with your values. So set a realistic limit or a budget for an area of your life that you'd like to spend less money in. And the key here is to be realistic. So if you're used to eating out 6 meals every week, maybe don't try and cut out buying food completely. And I've spoken about creating system-based goals in a video before, but this is really the key that is going to help you actually achieve the goal that you're setting. So don't just say, I want to spend less money on buying food out, or I want to spend less money on going out with my friends. Create a system that is actually going to replace that spending. So for example, you could say, I'm going to meal prep on Wednesdays and Sundays so I don't purchase food out as much. Or on Friday nights, I'm going to have friends over for board games or a movie to spend less money on going out. Or I'm going to create a capsule wardrobe and think about my purchases for at least a week before I buy any more clothes. So to summarize, identifying problem areas that you would like to decrease your spending in, and then creating a goal and a system that's going to help you achieve that goal of lower spending in that category. And the final step is for your future purchases, and that is to spend intentionally, not impulsively. And I have a few different suggestions on how you could reduce your impulse buying. One of them is to put time between your desire to buy something and the decision to actually purchase it. So leaving things on a wish list for a set period of time before you buy them is something that I've done in the past that has really helped me to reduce my impulse spending. Giving yourself time to think before purchasing allows you time to actually rationalize the purchase and maybe realize that you don't need or want the thing as much as you thought you did. A question to consider to help you rationalize your purchases is this something that I could borrow from someone? Could I purchase it secondhand or use something else that is cheaper or that I might already have? A lot of the time we think that we need to own the thing or we need the newer thing or the better thing, when in actual fact we could either borrow that from someone else or we could use a secondhand or even a cheaper or alternative item to do that same job that wouldn't cost nearly as much money. Another tip is to shop with a list. Never go shopping just for the sake of going shopping. You can do this for groceries, for clothing, for gifts even, and making a list helps you to decide what you're going to purchase out of the actual need for the item and not marketing or what's trending or what is available, which oftentimes are always impulse purchases anyway. And another little tip that you could do to reduce your impulse spending is to unfollow retail accounts on social media, unsubscribe from email lists, pretty much anything that you can do to reduce the opportunities that consumer-focused companies who just want to sell their products to you at all costs have to influence your spending. But that is how I manage my money with a bit more of a minimalist approach. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments if you have any extra tips on how to reduce impulse spending or just save more money as well. That is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next one.